Hi, this is Dr. Darwin Hayes, and welcome to another edition of Ask Dr. Darwin, where you ask the questions and we get you the answers as it pertains to applying to dental school, being a dental student, applying for residency, and life after residency. So look, today we have a special guest who's applying to dental school, and just like all the other Ask Dr. Darwins, please feel free to subscribe and share this today's episode. I'm going to be posting at least once or twice a week, usually on Mondays and on Fridays. So subscribe and stay tuned. So today's guest is future student Dr. Zaur. I think I said his name right. Z-A-U-R, Zaur, who's applying to dental school and has some questions about getting prepared and getting into dental school. So welcome. Thanks for joining me today, and thanks for your question. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're up to these days.
Hi, how are you, doctor? My name is Zaur. I'm from Azerbaijan, and then I went to school in Russia for 6 years. That 1 year my diploma and 5 year diploma and a 1 year internship. And then after that, I went back to my country, and then I worked as a doctor for a couple of years. And then I won green card, and I moved to the USA. Okay. In 7 years, I tried several times to pass the national boards, but because of my family situation, I have family, 3 kids. That's very little hard for me because I have to work, and then I have to prepare all my, it's very hard, not easy. And then I tried a couple of times, and then I stopped. And then I never tried to pass the exam because I never had a chance. But now I'm thinking, because it's almost 7 years past, now I'm thinking maybe I have to change my professional, or I have to do exactly. Now I have to choose one of them, or either I have to change my dentistry to something else and medical different option, or I have to do my dentistry. And then that's why I want to ask a question about. For example, I'm a freshman. I want to start from the beginning, from part 1, part 2, and then to apply for the programs, right? What kind of programs in the USA do we have? For example, I know DDS, DMD, postdoctoral, residency programs to get the license to practice in the USA.
Right. So you're asking about how do you become a dentist in the USA? Is that right?
Besides the DDS, DMD, because I know that program, most of them school, they have DDS, DMD programs. But do we have something else where I can apply, and then I can finish, I can work as a doctor, I can get the license?
Right. Okay. So your question is, are there any other programs besides the DDS or DMD program where you can become a licensed dentist in the U.S.? Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so unfortunately, nope, there is no other way to become a licensed dentist in the U.S. You must get a DDS or a DMD from a certified school in the U.S. There are several schools that have what we call international student programs for dentists that got a license or trained overseas, or foreign trained dentists, and they come to the U.S. But typically, their entry into the U.S. to get a dental license is usually one of 3 different ways. Number one, some schools have a 2-year program, for international students. Off the top of my head, I can think of UPenn. I think also there's a program in New York, upstate New York, University of Rochester. It's called Eastman Dental. They have.
I'm sorry, doctor. Are you talking about EAGD program, right?
AEGD program, yes. That program at Rochester, University of Rochester, at Eastman, is recognized as a 2-year AEGD program that's recognized in some states, not all of them, but it is recognized for the state of New York as a dental school equivalent. But you still, for the state of New York, to get a license, you still must do a residency. That AEGD program by itself is not considered a residency for a license, but it's considered a residency as a substitution or the equivalent of you doing, 4 years at NYU or a 4-year dental school program. You still have to do a GPR program or another type of postgraduate AEGD program in the state of New York to get a license. And then the third route is there are some schools, even if you are an international student and you have a license from another country, there are some schools that make you start all the way back again. They make you start back from year number 1. So that means you have to do year 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have to do 4 years of dental school in the U.S. in some of those programs. Those are the 3 ways that you can become a licensed dentist in the U.S. There's no other way. No other way.
Mm-hmm. And then for me, if I want to begin from the beginning, right, for 4 years, I have to pass DAT exam, right? Or
well, there are a couple of exams that are part of the process to apply to dental school, and also to become a licensed dentist. Number 1 for dental school is the DAT. You're right. You have to take the DAT. It's part of the admissions process, but you have to check the schools specifically to find out. Where are you located right now?
I'm really not in New York, but I want to move out to North Carolina.
Okay, so you're in New York right now, right?
Yes.
So in particular, so you would look at some of the New York schools, like number 1, like NYU. NYU is the biggest dental school on the planet. It's got, at least in the U.S., it's got over close to 400 students in every class. So they have over like 1,600 students. So you would look at NYU. You would have to look at and see what is their admissions requirement. So it's probably the DAT. You have to take the DAT, I'm sure. Other schools like the Rochester program, the University of Rochester program, where it's an AEGD program, you would have to go on their website and find out more information about the application process. I'm not familiar if you have to take the DAT or if you have to take another exam. Once you're in dental school, all the schools require that you take the National Board of Dental Examiners, which is the NBDE, which is there's a part 1 and there's a part 2. All right. Those 2 exams are requirements typically for you to graduate. Not only for you to graduate, but also when you're getting a license in the U.S., some states require that you pass part 1 and part 2. Some dental schools require that you pass part 1 and part 2 to actually graduate. So you would have to really look at the schools that you're considering applying to find out what tests are required at DAT, and also the National Board of Dental Examiners, the NBDE Part 1 and Part 2.
I understand. Because I have one question at the time. I asked my friend. If you have to pass National Board Part 1 and Part 2, it doesn't make sense to apply to the program because you already passed those exams, right? You can get a license, but I don't know. On the top of that, why we have to go to to that program, which is the minimum of that program. You have to pass those exams, right? The National Board Pattern 2.
Yeah, that's a requirement for graduation for a lot of the U.S. dental schools. That's part of the curriculum. That's part of the accreditation. That's what allows those schools to become accredited through the Commission accreditation to the Department of Education. Just like there is in medical school, there's some exams, some national board exams that all medical students must pass to graduate.
I understand, because in my country, in different countries, we have almost same system. But if you pass a couple exams, you can work. For example, you don't need to go to the school, no problems there. You have to pass 2-3 exams, and you're good to go. You can apply for the license. But over here, about the program is very hard because with so many applicants, and there is no enough room. I know I have a couple of friends. They have part 1, part 2. They have high score, TOEFL. They have good GPA, but they are waiting almost 7 years, 5 years. No one school. They don't accept them. Very high. Too long. You have to wait. That's little not normal for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
And because I'm a dentist, in my mind all the time, I have my plan. I gotta do. I have to do today, tomorrow. I cannot do nothing else. I cannot do nothing else. I don't have a different job experience. Just in my mind, wherever I go to work, I'm thinking about the dentist.
Yeah, I got it.
And then the time, and then time goes, and time is very fast. 1 year, 2 years, and then you are waiting for, I don't know, for something.
Yeah.
Well, and everything is very hard.
Yeah. Well,
on the top of that, yes.
It sounds like you're passionate about practicing dentistry here in the U.S.
Can you repeat it, please? I cannot hear you.
I said it sounds like you are very passionate about becoming and practicing practicing dentistry here in the U.S.
Oh my God! I wish that I was a very good doctor in my country. Even now, my patients, they appreciate me all the time. But over here, it's a little different system. The system doesn't care about them.
And you're right. It's a totally different system. And to be able to practice here, you have to follow what the system has set forth. All the schools on the certifications are set up that way so that schools receive money from the government and state institutions, and those regulations and policies are in place by the departments like the Department of Education. So all those things, unfortunately for you right now, are things that you have to overcome if you're going to practice and be a dentist in the U.S. So, yep, those are the rules. That's the path. And those are the things that have to be done for here in the U.S. So you just have to make up your mind and make the decision, I'm going to do it. I will do it. And if there's 10 things you got to do, the best thing to do is start on the first one and check that off. And then go to the second thing, check that off. Go to the third thing, check that off. You can do it.
But I'm thinking if that makes sense, because it's the so long way, because I have family, kids. Now I'm thinking because too high competition. If there are a lot of problems. If I have a lot of friends who pass those exams, as I mentioned before, they stuck all the time in some with some problem. they did not work in the USA as a doctor because you don't have license. You cannot practice in the USA. But most of the schools, they ask about that. What are you working now? What are you doing now? You have some progress in dentistry as a doctor, but you don't have license. You cannot practice in the USA.
Right.
You have to work as an assistant, maybe at the maximum.
Right, and that's even more reason why you got to do it. You got to do it quick, man. The time that you've been waiting to do it maybe something that's going to cause a problem for you if you don't get it done soon. So you may want to consider that program in upstate New York, University of Rochester, where it's a 2-year AEGD program for international dentists, and start there. Start looking at how you can get into that program, because that might be the fastest way for you to become a dentist, with you having waited so much since you've been here. You can't wait. It doesn't sound like you can afford to wait any longer, man. You got to get it done. You've got to figure out, first of all, you've got to decide, I'm going to become a dentist in the U.S. I'm going to do it, and I know it's going to take me at least 2 or 3 years if I go through the University of Rochester. It's going to take me longer if I go another route. I'm going to become a dentist in the U.S. in 3 years. And then everything else, your environment, the things that your personal situation, your family situation, you're going to have to make the decision of what you're willing to give up or what you're going to have to do to make it happen. At the end of the day, your decision is going to help your family. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. So now it's about how motivated and how willing you're able to make it happen. Your family situation is not going to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to change at all with your kids and your wife and everything else. I mean, I remember having some classmates that that were married and had 1 or 2 kids while they're in dental school, but they made it work. So at this point, how important is your dream and is your goal? What are you willing to do, and what are you willing to give up to make it happen? It's going to be a sacrifice. You're absolutely right. But sitting back and complaining about how the system is different here than in your country is not going to get you any step closer to getting your dream fulfilled or getting your target and getting your goal. So right now, you've got to focus on what your target is, and you've got to make a decision to say, all right, Zayor, as Zayor the dentist, I'm going to be a licensed dentist in the U.S. in 3 years. And then you need to focus on that one thing and find out all the things you need to do to accomplish that goal. That's your challenge to yourself for 2018. Where can I get into? How can I get into dental school? Or what's the fastest way that I can become a licensed dentist in the U.S. so that I can practice dentistry, which I love, which I'm passionate about, which will allow me to take care of my family and myself and be happy and everything else. And I think for you, based on what you're sharing with me, I think one of the first steps is you looking into, your first step is making that statement, pledging that to yourself. And then once you've decided that that is what you're going to do, then you work out how you're going to do it. One of the steps on how you're going to do it is you need to look at programs like the one at University of Rochester, Eastman Dental, and look at their program and figure out who you need to talk to and what information you need to get together so that you can apply to that program and get admitted into that program. It's 2 years. It's a 2-year program. You're already in the state of New York, so that's good, right? If you have to move your family up there, you can, or if your family has to stay and you have to go up to Rochester, hey, that's part of the thing you got to do to meet your goal.
Thank you so much for those information.
You're welcome, man. I hope it's been helpful, and keep me posted.
I gotta go.
Keep me posted on your process. Just so you know, it can be done. I have residents. I've had residents over the last 5 years that have come from the University of Rochester program, and they also were international dentists. They were dentists in either India, they were dentists in Dominican Republic, down in South America, and they go there and they have great training, and they come, they do a residency in the state of New York, GPR program. After that, the University of Rochester, they get licensed in New York, and they're practicing dentistry. 3 years. In 3 years, they're practicing dentistry. They get their license, the New York State license, and they're practicing dentistry. You're next, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're next.
I hope so.
You're next. So keep me posted.
And then, Doctor, I have one more question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have the final question about the ADA. They want to change in 2020. They want to combine the boards, right? The two boards will be in one board, or they want to change a couple of things, I heard. Can you explain a little bit about that, please?
Absolutely. So you're right. And right now there's a program, there's some people at the ADA that are putting together a program, a new national board. It's supposed to be potentially rolling out in 2019 or 2020, where it's a national board examination. And the reason why they're doing this is that they're trying to eliminate the need and the use of live patients for your dental boards. So the thought is there'll be one dental board, and then once you pass that dental board, you can now apply to practice in any state in the U.S. After taking that dental board. But I will tell you that the release of it is, like I said, in 2020. But even once they release it, they're still going to have to work out, I'm sure, some logistics and some kinks and things like that. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's something for the future for you. Right now, you've got to focus, just like this, on how can I become a dentist in the U.S. That licensing board is part of the very last step for you. That's the last step for you. By the time that you get to that in 3 years, it would have come out, it would have changed, it would have been implemented, all of which I would tell you right now, don't even worry about that. Focus your energies right now on what program can I get into so that I can fulfill my passion and my dream in becoming a dentist in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, hey, Zara, thanks so much for your time today. Thanks. You had some really great questions that a lot of people, I've been getting a lot of questions from internationally or foreign trained dentists that are coming to the U.S. or that are here or that are in a process of becoming dentists. So this was right on time. Thank you so much for your time. And for those of you that are out there that have questions like Zaor's or even something related to dental school or dental residency or life after dentistry, please shoot me an email at newdentistcoach@gmail.com, newdentistcoach@gmail.com, and we'll get you on the show. And Zaor, please keep in contact with me. Let me know what your progress is and how you're coming about getting this dream fulfilled. Thanks so much for your time today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time also. That was very helpful, and then I hope everything will be fine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.